Hello and welcome. So, you're thinking about moving to a new state. It's a huge undertaking. And when you have a child with special needs, it adds a whole other layer of complexity. Our goal today is to really unpack those hidden challenges and give you a roadmap to make this move with confidence.
This quote really hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's this strange mix of feelings. On one hand, you've got all the excitement of a fresh start. But on the other hand, that can get buried under this real anxiety about making sure your child's care continues without a hitch. It's a tough balance, and it's totally normal to be feeling both things at once.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with the legal side of things, the guardianship challenge. Then we'll get into decoding state benefits, which can be a real maze. After that, we'll look at the real costs of not planning ahead, and then we'll wrap up by building a transition plan to put you back in the driver's seat.
All right, let's jump right into a big one, legal guardianship. You'd think that if you're the legal guardian for your adult child in your current state, that just moves with you, right? Well, unfortunately, it's not quite that simple.
Now, the good news is there is a law designed to help with this. It's a mouthful, but it's called the UAGPPJA, and its whole job is to make transferring guardianship between states easier. But here's the catch. Easier doesn't mean automatic. It's more like a set of rules to help the states talk to each other. You still have to go through a formal legal process in your old state and your new one. And this is where it can get kind of tricky, because every state plays by its own rules. Some states will say you have to be an official resident before you can even start the process. Others might require brand new medical evaluations for your child, or they might ask for court documents you've never even heard of before. Getting a handle on these state-specific rules way ahead of time is absolutely crucial. You really don't want a gap in your legal authority.
Okay, let's shift gears to the next major hurdle, and this one is huge. Benefits and services. Every single state in the country runs its own system. That means the support network you've built, the services you rely on, well, they could look completely different once you cross that state line.
Think about it like this. In your current state, you know the deal. You've got your Medicaid coverage figured out. You know how the waiver services work. Those are the programs that help people get care at home instead of in an institution. You know the system. But in your new state, you're starting over. You're facing totally new eligibility rules, you might hit long waiting periods for services, and you have to learn a whole new bureaucracy from scratch. It's literally like trading a map you know by heart for a completely blank one.
And let's be super clear here. This isn't just a minor inconvenience. Not planning for these big differences between state systems can have serious, real-world consequences for your child and for your entire family.
So let's be direct about what those consequences actually look like. This isn't about trying to scare you. It's about being realistic so we can prepare. There are really three major risks you run into if you don't plan this transition out carefully.
First, and this is probably the most important one, you risk a gap in services that are absolutely essential for your child's health and well-being. We're talking about things like physical therapy, medical care, or in-home support. A break in these services isn't just a hassle, it could mean a real setback for your child's progress or health.
The second big risk is an unexpected gap in the benefits coverage itself. This can easily happen if you don't get the timing of your applications just right, or if you land on a really long waiting list in the new state. Suddenly, you could lose critical financial support and access to the very programs you and your child depend on.
And that brings us to the third one, which is really the combination of everything else. Just a massive amount of strain on your family. You might be looking at surprise out-of-pocket costs for services that used to be covered, not to mention legal fees to get the guardianship sorted out. All of that just piles financial and emotional stress onto an already really demanding time.
Okay, we've laid out the challenges, we've talked about the stakes. Now, let's talk about the solution. The way you get through all of this is by turning all that worry into action. And you do that by building a really comprehensive, proactive transition plan. So, the core of your game plan really breaks down into 4 clear steps. First, you've got to do your homework and really understand the benefit system and rules in your new state. Next, you plan out the timing of your applications to make any coverage gaps as small as possible. Third, you make a real plan for how you'll handle any waiting periods you can't avoid. And finally, you start finding new doctors, therapists, and support groups before you've even packed a single box. But a truly great plan goes even deeper than just the benefits and paperwork. It also means digging into the school districts to see what their special education programs are like. It means having a strategy to make sure your child's individualized education program, their IEP, transfers smoothly. And of course, it means lining up that new team of healthcare providers so you're ready to go from day one.
And really, that's the key here. When you start tackling these things one by one ahead of time, the whole process just stops feeling so overwhelming. You take what could be a really chaotic and stressful situation and you turn it into a structured, manageable journey for your family. Planning is what gives you back a sense of control.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. It's so easy to get caught up in packing the boxes, hiring the truck, and thinking about the new house. But is the most important plan of all, your child's care plan, is it really ready for the journey ahead?